Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. There have been loads of updates to environments, gameplay area, roadmap updates relating to that. I also wanted to look at some new gameplay features that are coming soon that were mentioned in the roadmap and the monthly reports, sort of combining and compressing a load of information and summarizing it all together. Currently for Alpha 3.8, Babbage and Microtech has 61 of 64 tasks completed. It looks very likely that it's going to be in 3.8. Hopefully some associated server-side object container streaming support will be there too. New Babbage and its landing zone exteriors are 66 out of 86 tasks completed as well. That's the main landing zone there. The interior sections of New Babbage are planned for 3.9. We do not know to what extent that New Babbage will be landable or accessible in 3.8. It might not be accessible at all. It might be a very, very limited accessibility. We'll have to wait and see. Rest Stop's Space Station interior variants are now at 249 of 285 tasks completed. There's loads and loads and loads of new additions with those interiors, with food courts and new assets and new shops, and sort of like having the exteriors match the interiors of these rest stops. The 3 moons of Microtech are all sitting at around 60% plus completion by task anyway as well. There's 3 new moons, so I'm very much looking forward to all that huge new gameplay area and variation that 3.8 will bring. More generally to actual tech behind this, Planetary Tech V4 was enabled in the game dev branch and is being QA tested currently, according to the monthly report. They are testing each star system with individual planets being tested daily to stay on top of any new issues that may crop up as a result of changes. This would add to the implications that CIG have more star systems sort of ready to go and that are working on beyond the Stanton system, and obviously the Odin system that's in Squadron 42 as well. Showing new star systems is a major expectation of CitizenCon. More generally, improvements to Planetary Tech should see better looking planets, moons, biomes and effects, with less popping in of assets and less noticeable level of detail changes as you move closer or further away from objects. It also provides much needed resource optimizations to the game for these giant gameplay areas and huge valleys and mountains and all that sort of jazz too. The FX guys, they worked on planetary effect improvements, specifically on the engineering side. This included particle scattering queues, height-based wind calculations, a new half-resolution option for particles, and the ability to spawn volumetric fog as part of near effect level of details. So I'm thinking that this is all pushing towards weather, some static weather to start off with, some environmental effects, but eventually, hopefully, dynamic weather as well. They continue to improve the workflow for gas clouds and the low poly building generator tool. More generally, they've been working on effects for inside stations, ships, new environments on planets and moons, all that sort of jazz as well. They are further working on debugging and improving environments. They are verifying new changes to moons and planets using locally exported object containers, and will perform a QA test request for each location once design have completed their redrop of all surface side locations. They are testing AI placement and making bug fixes across various landing zones, as well as working on usable placements in existing and upcoming landing zones. So this is all pushing towards having AI moving around lots of different surface side locations and stations and that sort of stuff much more readily. Hopefully this will also lead to combat AI being a bit more fleshed out, sort of more generally. It also looks like a lot of these environmental improvements are because of server-side object container streaming, sort of like getting that into the game. They've also been working on a biome accumulation system, which is the basis of a variety of effects such as snow, frost, dirt, mud and dust. The system itself will require a combined effort from art, graphics and coding teams over the next few months. They are continuing to work on, obviously, Microtech and New Babbage. The frozen planet type provides challenges, but also opens up many exciting opportunities and possibilities for the game. We're going to see tannoy systems at New Babbage broadcasting various information as well. I'd also expect to see tannoy systems across various stations with updated audio. They are also generating ideas for possible additional harvestables, so it's going to likely be that on Microtech we see some more frosty sort of fruit, veg or whatever that we can collect and find maybe different types of animal dung, whatever. They continued with high-tech props for New Babbage as well. This involved focusing on the landing zones, infrastructure, consoles, information signs, counter sets, and wall dressing. There's lots of interactive props that are going into that area as well that they've been working on. And they've also been creating interior screens for New Babbage as well, which involve defining a UI that suits the Microtech brand. They also kicked off animated adverts for Microtech products. Microtech itself has also been a focus, with multiple biomes and assets getting finalized and then distributed across the surface of the planet. CIG said progress is going really well, and we look forward to showing Microtech's full visual range in the near future. I'm expecting to see that at CitizenCon to at least some extent. Alpha 3.7 saw the first implementation of caves, which are the first natural design environments built using this sort of like new procedural tool. The devs consider them a great proof of concept and welcome the addition to the tool itself, with more content being tied into procedural generation. The speed in which they create new content will increase going forward. New rest stop interiors are also coming with Alpha 3.8. So there's lots and lots and lots of rooms here with multiple versions of each. The challenge is to ensure visual consistency between each location, that lighting blends nicely between the rooms, and that pathways are clear to the player and eventually to NPCs moving between areas. The lighting of New Babbage is also underway, with them currently making a pass on the main city and spaceport exteriors. On more of the technical planet side stuff, they refactored and extended multi-cascade support for terrain height maps, so dependent effects can be better incorporated into that for their own purposes. So like terrain shadows, and they worked on cascade debug visualization to allow artists to efficiently tweak important height map properties. Regarding planet terrain shadows, they added a simple code interface and a shared shader code for the application on the client side, provided support for temporal anti-aliasing, and completed the initial code and logic support for multi-cascades. Work on Planetary ground fog continues as well. Server-side object container streaming is also being worked on quite heavily, and they are releasing it to the dev branch sort of like in earnest now, I suppose. They're starting to use it for most of their processes. So this is adjusting code to cope with very large objects here, making exception handler improvements, and adding API to asynchronously create a core dump without affecting the calling process, which would previously have led to a crash. There is major focused effort on server-side object container streaming, which is a major engineering overhaul that will eventually result in the dramatic improvement of in-game performance, apparently. Now, that was stated in the monthly report. As far as I understood, with server-side object container streaming, they originally didn't know if it was going to give them much sort of like performance improvements server-side and client-side. They knew it was going to increase server efficiency, so you wouldn't have sort of like terrible frame rate dips, and it just makes the service a lot more efficient. But it sounds like that it improves client-side performance to a degree as well, allows them to develop stuff a lot faster, or get stuff in game a lot more sort of like efficiently, and improves the server experience significantly. So I am very much looking forward to server-side object container streaming. It does sound like we're getting some of those features for server-side object container streaming, at least bits of it, in 3.8, so let us wait and see. They further developed the new planetary terrain shadow system. This will eventually allow shadows over greater distances with large-scale softness, penumbra, at less cost than the current system. Development of planet's surface shading continued and is nearing completion, with improvements to the accuracy of surface normals at every scale and the addition of a separate layer of textures for cliffs. So, as I said earlier, basically, well, at least this is what I'm hoping from this, is that we will have better levels of detail and less noticeable popping of assets. And that's it for environment updates and some of the back-end tech that supports it. But what do you think with the work going on with environments and gameplay? Are you excited for Alpha 3.8 and Microtech and some of the additional gameplay areas and interior stations, all that sort of jazz that are all coming? Or do you think it's going to have much too little flesh on its bones at that stage? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For November, it's for a Cutlass Black game package and CitizenCon 2948, last year's goodie pack. All you need to do for a chance of winning is comment on any of my videos made during November 2019. More details below. A quick bit of shilling as well. Shadow provide remote access to high-spec gaming PCs as a subscription service, so you don't need to maintain your own gaming PC. You can leverage the power of your internet to turn your phone, tablet, laptop, or home PC into a monster. They are taking pre-orders for their new hardware configurations, scaling for 4K gaming, up to 32 gigs of RAM, and a GeForce Titan RTX, which I am very much looking forward to playing Star Citizen on. Links below, and use the code BoredGamer to get a discount. I also use NordVPN, which I've decided to continue to support, as they appear to have one of the best VPN services currently available at an affordable price. If you're looking for a VPN, consider them. Links below. Thank you so much for watching my video to the end. If you would like to share my video, comment, subscribe, like, all that sort of jazz, ring the bell, that all helps content creators. Also, if you want to further support the channel even more, there's Patreon, there's direct donation, there's the YouTube join button as well, which gives you access to some more sort of like exclusive content from me. Thank you very much for watching. You take care, and I'll see you in the verse.